Lil Tay was never just a child star, she was a spectacle. At 9 years old, she was flaunting luxury cars and calling herself a boss. But behind the scenes? Chaos. Family drama, custody battles, and a sudden disappearance from the internet. Now, she's resurfaced, and this time, she's grown up and turning heads in a whole new way. Lil Tay's rise as the youngest flexer. Lil Tay wasn't born into fame, she created it. Born Claire Eileen Shehope on July 29, 2007, in Atlanta, Georgia, her childhood was split between Vancouver and Los Angeles. She was just a 9-year-old with a phone, a camera, and a dream. But what the internet saw was much louder: stacks of $100 bills, luxury Lamborghinis, Gucci slippers, and an unapologetic mouth. She called herself the youngest flexer of the century, and overnight, she became a digital firestorm. In her videos, she was defiant, cocky, and unfiltered. Standing on top of sports cars, yelling at broke haters, and showing off homes she claimed to own. But none of it was real. The cars weren't hers. The money? Borrowed. The houses? Often part of her mother's real estate listings. But perception was all that mattered, and the internet couldn't get enough. While millions were mesmerized, just as many were horrified. The backlash was swift. Critics called her a symbol of bad parenting and toxic internet culture. Even celebrities chimed in. Rap legend Snoop Dogg posted, "She need to be in school learning how to be a little girl, not a dumbass grown person." But the truth behind the camera was even more disturbing. Lil Tay's viral rise was carefully manufactured, mostly by her older half-brother, Jason Tion. A teenager himself, Jason was the mastermind behind the scenes. He directed her videos, wrote her lines, and crafted the online persona that became so infamous. Many say he pushed things too far, coaching her to curse, fight, and even use racially charged language, all to fuel engagement and stay trending. Jason reportedly believed he could mold his sister into a viral sensation, a mix of Danielle Bregoli and 6ix9ine. But in doing so, he blurred the line between influence and exploitation. Lil Tay may have been the face, but behind the flex was a child caught in a game she barely understood, one that would soon spin completely out of control. The fall, the death hoax, and the comeback. Lil Tay's internet dominance vanished almost as quickly as it exploded. After just a few whirlwind months of viral fame in 2018, everything went silent. Her Instagram, once filled with brash flexes and luxury backdrops, was completely wiped. No more flashy videos. No more headlines. No more Lil Tay. She disappeared from the internet without warning. Behind the scenes, things were unraveling fast. Rumors swirled about intense custody battles between her parents, with her father demanding control over her career and insisting she step away from the chaotic persona crafted by her brother Jason. Accusations flew back and forth of manipulation, abuse, exploitation. In the chaos, the internet's loudest child influencer was silenced, lost in a storm of adult conflict and legal battles. Then, just when the world had nearly forgotten her, Lil Tay's name returned in the most chilling way possible. On August 9, 2023, an Instagram post appeared on her official account announcing that she and her brother had died. No cause, no explanation. Just sudden death, at 14 years old. The post was brief, eerie, and deeply unsettling. The internet erupted. Shock, confusion, grief. News outlets picked it up immediately. TikTok and Twitter, now X, were flooded with tributes and conspiracy theories. Was it suicide? Foul play? Was it connected to her past online trauma? No one had answers. Only a collective gasp from the digital world that had once helped create her. But just one day later, the twist came. TMZ broke the news: Lil Tay was alive. In a recorded statement, she claimed her account had been hacked and the death announcement was fake. She said the rumors about her passing were traumatizing and that she had been kept away from the public by legal constraints. Most shockingly, she clarified that her real name wasn't Claire Hope, it was Tay Tion. Claire had been part of the persona, another layer of the myth, and she wasn't just back to clear the air, she was ready to rebrand. Weeks later, Tay returned not as a flexer, but as a musician. She dropped her debut single, Sucker for Green, showing a new, polished version of herself, still stylish, still bold, but less chaotic. Gone was the screaming 9-year-old on a Lamborghini. In her place stood a teenage girl trying to reclaim her identity, one beat, one lyric at a time. But the question lingered: was this truly a comeback, or just another chapter in an already troubled legacy? Health crisis and open heart surgery. Just as the world began adjusting to Lil Tay's unexpected return, fate threw her another unthinkable curveball. In September 2024, a chilling update surfaced on her social media. No flashy video, no music tease, just a quiet, startling post. Lil Tay had been rushed to the ICU. The diagnosis? A heart tumor. For a girl whose name had long been tied to controversy, internet drama, and reinvention, this was different. This was real, raw, life-threatening. Fans were stunned. The news spread fast, igniting waves of concern and speculation. Was it related to stress? Genetics? No one knew. What was certain, she was in critical condition, and her life was hanging in the balance. She was only 17. For days, Tay remained hospitalized, fighting through what doctors described as a delicate and risky situation. The tumor was dangerously close to her heart, and the only option was open heart surgery. Then came the silence. No updates, no photos, just worry. And then, finally, a breath of hope. A new post emerged. Lil Tay had made it. The surgery was successful. In her own words, she wrote, "I'm back, nothing will stop me from achieving my dreams." The tone was no longer defiant for the sake of fame. It was resilient, mature. A teenage girl who had lived many lives in just a few years. Internet sensation, ghosted child star, death hoax survivor, music newcomer, now adding heart surgery survivor to her story. This wasn't about flexing money or calling out haters. It was about life, how fragile it is, how fast it can change, and how fiercely she was determined to hold on to it. The internet watched with a strange mix of shock and admiration. Some critics softened. Others still questioned the authenticity of her posts. But one thing was undeniable: Tay Tian had survived again. And maybe, just maybe, this time, she was really here to stay. From comeback to OnlyFans record. The world had seen her rise, watched her vanish, mourned her falsely, witnessed her heal. But no one could have predicted what came next. At exactly 12:01 a.m. on July 29, 2025, just 1 minute after turning 18, Lil Tay stunned the internet once again. She announced the launch of her OnlyFans account, emphasizing the timing. Every move was precise, intentional, and in her words, 100% legal now. Gone was the little girl flexing stacks of cash in front of Lamborghinis. In her place stood a young woman, fierce, unapologetic, and fully in control of her image. Within 3 hours, Tay claimed to have earned an eye-watering $1,024,298.09 raked in from subscriptions, tips, and private messages. It wasn't just a comeback. It was a business move. A record-breaking one. She didn't just join the platform, she dominated it. And then came the declaration, bold and direct: "I'm the youngest girl on OnlyFans." The message was unmistakable. Lil Tay had rebranded once again, not as a victim of the internet, but as its master. And she wasn't done. In the days following her explosive debut, it was revealed that adult agencies had reportedly offered her $30 to $40 million in deals. Modeling contracts. Streaming exclusives. Even scripted fantasy content. She turned them all down. Her response was as calculated as it was iconic: "I am the bag." To critics, it felt reckless. To fans, it was power. She wasn't just chasing money anymore, she was commanding it. On her terms, with her timing, her rules. But under the confidence and cash flow, questions lingered. Was this empowerment, exploitation, genius marketing, a cry for attention? For Tay, it didn't seem to matter. She wasn't asking for permission. She'd been exploited before. Used, silenced, erased. Now, she was loud, in control, and cashing in. Whether you saw her as a cautionary tale or a digital age mogul, one thing was undeniable. Lil Tay was no longer a child flexer. She was a woman, a controversial one, a rich one, and a viral legend rewriting her legacy in real time. Family drama and public backlash. Just as Lil Tay began to reassert her voice, the past came knocking. It wasn't long after her explosive OnlyFans debut that her older half-brother, Jason Tian, the same person many believed had engineered her earliest viral fame, appeared again, this time on a livestream. But he wasn't celebrating her comeback, he was criticizing it. Jason looked into the camera, visibly frustrated, and said bluntly, "She's not ready, she's not thinking clearly."
Get the f off alive.
Get the f out of my room.
What are you doing?
What
You're
I said I've been
not
doing.
dropping any f***ing links in this house.
The internet froze. It was deja vu. The same brother who once coached her, edited her clips, fed her lines, and allegedly fueled controversies with slurs and scripted chaos, was now questioning her judgment. But this time, Tay wasn't a kid being puppet behind the scenes. She answered back publicly and boldly, "I'm a woman now." That sentence hit like a slap. Not just to Jason, but to the world watching. It was more than a clapback, it was a declaration of independence. A warning shot to anyone who still saw her as a child, a puppet, or someone to be managed. But the internet didn't take it lightly. The backlash rolled in fast. Critics blasted her OnlyFans move as a cash grab veiled in rebellion, calling it exploitation repackaged as empowerment. They pointed to her turbulent past, her family's long history of control, and questioned who was really behind the curtain now. Was this really her choice? Or just another script, this time more adult, more dangerous, and more profitable? the divide was sharp. Some called it tragic, a reminder of how fame had stripped her childhood, blurred her boundaries, and turned trauma into a storyline. Others called it powerful, a bold reintroduction from a young woman refusing to be defined by her past. And in the middle of it all stood Tay, unshaken, no longer yelling for attention, no longer just flexing stacks or writing in rented limbos. This time, she owned the moment, owned the backlash, owned her past and weaponized it. But behind the fame, the money, and the clout-chasing headlines, one truth lingered: the family that once built her brand now stood divided. And the girl once told what to say was now speaking for herself even if the world wasn't ready to hear it. Lil Tay's story is wild, raw, and still unfolding. From flexing cash to faking death, to flipping the internet on its head. Love her or not, she knows how to win attention and cash in on it. What do you think, genius move or pure chaos? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more shocking transformations.